So, just got home and took the whole family to see Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. And I have to say, as far as a Marvel movie goes, it's probably one of the best ones out there. As a movie by itself, it's probably one of the best movies of 2021, considering, the things we've had like Wonder Woman and Mortal Kombat and what have you. Uh, this was a very entertaining and complete movie. And while I won't go into spoilers, I'll try as much as I can not to give out any plot details. Um, it tells a complete story of Shang-Chi and his character development from as the hero, the reluctant hero. Um, Obviously, typically there's some type of traumatic backstory where the hero, the reluctant hero doesn't want to take up his responsibility. He has a change of heart, and therefore he decides to take upon his role. And that's pretty much the entire movie. But it's done in such a well done way with, the the enemy has his reasons, and it's all believable and it's all relatable. It's not overly convoluted. It's not overly complicated to the point where it becomes over the top and to the point unbelievable. All of this is really a very simple, basic, straightforward story. With a lot of mysticism and weapons and what have you. And very few plot points are missed. And in fact, after the movie was over, I really couldn't go back and say, you know, there was something missing here. There was something that I don't understand. And I have to say, for this kind of movie, I really, really enjoyed it. The plot was good. The acting was excellent. The main character was played by Simu Liu. He did his role very well. His best friend was played by Aquafina. She did her role very well. Um, his father played the role very well. If I had my way, it would be played by Donnie Yen, but that's just because I'm a huge fan of his. But I had no complaints as far as the acting, the action, the way it was directed was top notch. There were some scenes where, in some of the fighting scenes, it doesn't look overly choreographed. Didn't look like they were trying to do something way too difficult for the actors at hand. And in some of the action scenes, the way the camera movements moved around, it was probably one of the most unique takes in one of the action scenes. And in one of the scenes, they're fighting on the side of a building, and this is not spoiler territory, but the camera would pretty much follow the fighters, fighting on one level and going down and back to another upper level, and they were flipping around and everything, and it was really cool. Did not rely on too much CGI when it came to the fighting scenes. There was a few moments here and there where you could see the CGI was kind of snuck in, and that was fine. Not too much of the wire foo flying around. It, but I'm a fan of that as well. It just didn't rely on it too much, so that was top notch as well. Um, if I were to find a negative in this movie, I would have to say there was one particular plot point in order to move the movie forward that came off as a little contrived and a little forced, and there's not much more I can say about that without giving a major spoiler. And I'm going to have a spoiler discussion posted later on today. But for the most part, I mean, other than that one section, in order to move the movie and the characters forward, everything else flowed very well. One of my biggest props goes out to the main two characters of Shang-Chi and his friend Katie. They were supposed to be friends for 10 years, and the way their dialogue flowed, it seemed that way. And it wasn't something to where the movie forced them into a contrived romance or anything like that. um, they were just friends, and that's how they stayed, and that's how they acted towards each other. It was very refreshing to see something like that, because typically in movies where a guy and a girl are friends, somewhere along the line at the end, there's got to be some type of romantic tension or whatever. But this movie wasn't held to that and constrained by that. So I really appreciated that as well. But like I said, people weren't doing things just for the sake of plot. Everybody had a reason for why they were doing things, doing for the things that their character wanted to do them. So um, I really, really, really enjoyed the movie hitting those plot points as well. Anyway, that's about as much as I can say about Shang-Chi. I will say that out of all the Marvel movies out there, this is probably one of the top ones out there. Definitely, I don't know if it's in my top 5, but it's definitely in my top 10. It was a completely enjoyable experience. I will most likely watch it again. Maybe not in the theater, but when it comes out to Disney Plus, eventually, I'll most definitely watch it again, and I could see myself enjoying it as much the second time as I did the first time. And so, yeah, if you want to go see it, by all means, go see it. And just to add on to that, my wife went with me, and she is not a fan of kung fu movies. She, in fact, when I asked her, if she wanted to see the movie, she was very adamant. She did not want to see it because it's just not the movie she's into. She just does not. She just doesn't like it, and that's perfectly fine. But after seeing this movie, she said it was like her second favorite movie. And she said, despite the fighting, which she absolutely didn't like, the rest of the movie she absolutely loved. And I believe that is probably about the best, I mean, validation you can give to this movie. That's how enjoyable it was. So, yeah, by all means, go check it out, go see it, enjoy it, and let me know what you think.